Never.
On Highland.
Wrong, okay.
Makes you wonder after.
Welcome to the July 8th meeting of the Troy Planning Commission. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. McGarry. Mr. Wolke.
Here.
Mrs. Ehrlich. Yes. Mr. Westmeyer.
Here.
Mr. Emmerich.
Here.
Mayor. Here. Mr. Titterington.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Okay, I trust you've had the opportunity to review the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Okay, item number 3, minor amendment for Troy Christian and the Arbogast Performing Arts facility. Does staff have a report?
Yes, sir. So Western Ohio Fence and Supply, on behalf of the APAC Center, has requested a minor amendment to the general plan of the PD as approved by City Council. That was Ordinance 043, 2021. This minor amendment is for the installation of a 6-foot composite privacy fence that will be located on the patio outside of Ernst Cafe. They're proposing to install a total of 43 linear feet of fencing atop of the existing 2-foot retaining wall, which necessitated this request. The primary purpose of the fence is to shield the patio area from high winds. Staff recommends that Planning Commission approve the minor amendment as requested, as the amendment will not have any negative effects on the PD or adjoining properties. And I did give you an example of what the fence is going to look like, so it's just a composite privacy.
Any questions?
So is this going to be mounted on the existing concrete?
Yeah.
And that's allowable? There's, the building
It
code would
is.
allow that?
It is per the plan development, so it would be considered.
No, I mean from a building code perspective, it's
8
not going to
feet.
fly away?
They are required to have a building permit because it would be a total height of 8 feet to the adjoining ground.
Yeah, anything over 7
But the
feet tall will go
the
through.
posts, how are they going to be mounted? Are they going to be mounted legally?
Yeah, that would be
Usually
a
you
part of
have
the.
footers and, you know, you have to go so far down to meet the frost line, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that will be reviewed as a part of the building permit, and they're aware of that.
And they're not going all the way around, it stops. Yeah, I showed you a picture where it stops, kind of not all the way around, but they have a site plan as well in the packet. You know how much they're going.
Sure, but that's not related to my post.
But again, yeah, that's
question.
building department, yep, that would,
So
Be
they'll
the-
have to meet the building permit expectations.
because it's over 7 feet tall, yeah.
Okay, so we're covered there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so it's just going around that one corner.
Uh-huh.
How tall do they want to be? 8?
It'll be 8 feet total because of the 2-foot retaining wall.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's presented.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Wolke.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich. Yes. Mr. Westmeyer.
Yes.
Mr. Emmerich.
Yes.
Mayor. Yes. Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Application is approved.
Okay, we have a rezoning application for 28 West Canal Street. Staff report?
Yes, sir. So this parcel has actually 2 zoning districts. It's one of our last few remaining split zoning parcels that we have in the city. If you flip to Exhibit A, you'll actually see the house, and then we have a pink and red issue on the map, but it's really only a 20-foot sliver of B2 commercially zoned, and it's actually splitting the house in 2. So half of it's residential, half of it's commercial. This is an issue we've been wanting to correct, and the new ownership agreed to correct this. So that's really what led to this request. It is staff's opinion that the proposed rezoning will correct the issue of split zoning on the subject property, and then staff does recommend Planning Commission provide a positive recommendation to City Council. That'll conclude my report.
Questions?
So the whole thing would go to R5?
It would go to R5.
And this is something we asked the resident to do.
That's correct. Yep.
Do we want to hold a public hearing?
I'll move that we not hold a public hearing.
I'll second that.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Ehrlich? Yes. Mr. Westmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Emmerich?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
The motion is approved. Planning Commission will not hold a public hearing.
Okay, would
And
we
Miss-
like to make a recommendation?
Before we move off the public hearing, just so it's in the record, you know, ours is optional, but there will be one mandatory at the council level,
Yes, sir.
like any other rezoning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion concerning the recommendation to City Council?
I'll move to approve. Move to
No,
send it to
yeah.
council.
Recommend rezoning to council.
What he said.
I'll second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Westmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Emmerich?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Review of the Unified Development Code. I understand staff has more for us.
Yeah, so being that this is our third meeting, we really wanted just to focus on the red line changes or edits that we've made since this was sent to you back in May. So the first change was the principal buildings per lot. We added an exemption or an exception for agricultural buildings. The reason for this is that, like, the silos and the barns are all typically a part of an agricultural use. So we did add that exception. And then we inserted in our language for self-storage facilities that we have in the current code. That was a part of, I believe, a 2024 text amendment where we added use-specific standards. And this would then allow them to not have to go for a planned development, as well as long as they comply with these specific standards. So feel free to stop me. I'm going to go through a lot of our topics.
Yeah, but Austin, we're exempting them from multi-buildings on self-storage. But do we have other regulations as to how many and density levels and
Yeah, so they can be
height and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, so they can be located within 1,000 feet of another one. There's a minimum acreage requirement, I believe, of 3 acres. There is actually architectural requirements on the front facade that faces any public right-of-way. And all that language is a part of that 2024 text amendment that we did when we evaluated this use type.
But is there any kind of minimum spacing between the buildings?
Between the buildings on the site, no, but between the uses there are. So if there's one that's located within 1,000 feet, the use would not be permitted. Moving on, this is a pretty minor change. We tweaked the intersecting street. We got rid of that language, and then we added a section that says the boundary of this new overlay district will be shown on the official zoning map.
Can you zoom in on those?
Zoom in on that slide.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. I can get you page number 32, and I can
No,
give you...
because it's not really readable to anybody unless you can,
This one's clear.
yeah, but I'm thinking anybody in
I can pull up an electronic version. You can bounce back
the,
and
no,
forth.
no.
We do have this, and the page numbers.
I just wondered if we had that capability.
I wonder if you hold control, can you hear me? There you go.
Ah, there.
So these are the changes for this section.
But these are all, you're pointing out changes that Planning Commission asked you to make in the last meeting.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Wireless communication facilities. This one is a pretty legal topic, but really what we did here was ensure compliance with federal law through the Telecom Communications Act of 1996. And all those changes are here. We removed the alternative tower structures and small cell facilities from the UDC because these impact the right-of-way. And we felt that our ordinance section 921 was pretty solid in terms of what we currently had. So we actually removed the small cells that impact the right-of-way from the UDC. Beekeeping, we added one line that says, as determined by the Development Code Administrator, and that was a request from our law director. Cross-access easements, we added that the standards we use is based on traffic safety and safe maneuverability of the site, as determined by the Development Code Administrator and/or City Engineer. So, pretty small tweaks here. Sign code, we changed from 30 days back to 28 days and then added the provision to split the permit in 4 7-day increments, which is consistent with what we currently have. This one is showing we added monument signs back into the UR and OR districts. And that is due to a lot of our places of public assemblies, religious uses, things like that, are located in those districts. We did tweak the square footage allowance from a half square foot per lineal feet of building frontage to a quarter foot with a cap of 75 square feet. And it follows the same height and setback requirements of the monument signs in the other districts.
So we're providing that opportunity in those 2 districts, whereas they don't have it now.
Currently, yeah, that's correct. Demolition by neglect was a conversation that we had at our last meeting. We asked Grant to provide us some language on what irreversible damage means. So you'll see that in C1, 2, and 3 here. This was language that he provided and suggested.
Is this where it said severe?
Severe was changed to irreversible damage.
Right.
That's important, because severe was very
Open.
Hard to define.
quantify, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's irreversible.
Irreversible damage, yep.
And one of their sentences is not a complete sentence. That's okay, the law director should know what he's doing.
Good? Continue? Yep. Nonconformities, we kept the exact same language of the current zoning code with the exception of nonconforming signs, and that's really due to the sign code was currently separate. We added nonconforming signs into the UDC, and then we added one provision under D. So D is entirely new, and I'll zoom into D. So we changed sorry, the zooming is unique. So it says the installation of any new sign is prohibited on a site while an illegal sign remains in use. And then we add an exception in the UC district. Okay, so what this basically means is we would not issue any new sign permits if there's an illegal sign that is present. And there is a definition of an illegal sign and another provision under subsection E.
And what you're basically saying there is, I mean, if it's a grandfathered sign, that's not what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
You're talking about one that was just put up illegally or without a permit, or
Correct. Yep.
whether it's old or new or whatever.
And then we added an exemption for iconic signs in the downtown. So this would be like K's and Redmond's, things like that, that have like historic, architectural, cultural, artistic, or community significance. We did add an exemption for those type of signs, so that would allow them to get repaired and maintain those signs. And this is that process.
Is there an amount of time that those signs have to have been present?
So I've seen a lot of codes that say 25 years. We did not add that provision because we did not have real clear data on our iconic signs and how long they were here. So that's why we left that out.
kind of see an issue if we don't have a time frame on there.
Well, that's why we added the standards and the planning commission does the designation. So it'd be similar to any other like certificate of appropriateness review, where we would talk about the criteria here and then evaluate that, and then planning commission will have that approval.
But any new sign, new development, new anything, that would not fall under iconic, because iconic is basically grandfathered.
Correct.
Right?
That's correct. So data centers, hot topic, first hot topic of the night. The subsection 1 is what I really wanted to point out. We required these to go through a plan development process, and as you all are aware, this is a 4 to 6 month process that requires a rezoning and a public hearing. So that comes from a lot of the feedback that we heard at our previous 2 meetings. We also added we strengthened our setback requirement of a minimum of 100 feet to any property line, beefed up our landscaping requirements. So now we do require a 40-foot buffer and a berm, which then has 1 tree per every 25 feet with a minimum height of 8 feet at planting. Then moving on, we have a provision to talk about noise and vibration mitigation plans. So this actually requires them to hire an acoustic engineer before, during construction, and post-construction to verify compliance with our noise ordinance. So that's under subsection 4. And then energy use mitigation plan is also provisions that we added here. So that came from feedback at our last meeting. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So walk us through the process real quick again. So now, it's part of a master planning process, there's a rezoning, so it'll come before
Planning
commission, there'll be a public forum, and then it'll go to city council.
That's correct.
Okay. So it'll be 3 opportunities essentially for the public to come in and share thoughts prior to the process.
That's correct. Yeah.
I would say more than that, because there would be at least 3 opportunities at just the council level, 4 opportunities actually.
For multiple readings.
Because because it's got to go 3 readings, and there's always public comment there, plus the public hearing, plus however long the planning commission would take. Not that we the planning commission allows public hearing, but certainly filing public input would be submitted, could be submitted, I guess.
Can you tell me what the maximum decibel level specified is?
60 dBA.
Thank you.
I guess that's my question. Do we have a study that tells us the impact of data centers?
Do I have a study?
Yeah, what did we base this on?
So actually it came from Cuyahoga County did their own study, and we based it on a couple different codes from their best practices.
Because American Structure Point was investigating this, but...
I needed to get it done quicker.
Yeah.
Actually, we had a citizen that came
Yeah,
up and told
yeah.
us about that.
Mr.
So,
Swank, yeah.
that was very helpful. But this would only allow data centers to be considered as PD.
That's correct.
So no straight zoning on data centers. That's question number 1, and yeah, you're saying that's correct. The standards that you put in here, those would be minimum standards,
Minimum
wouldn't
standards.
they? I mean, because a PD between the planning commission and the council, if there are concerns and there are modifications, the PD allows for those modifications to do anything above that or more restrictive if we wanted to be.
Correct. And there's also a provision that says the planning commission can add additional standards as they see fit to protect the public health, safety, and welfare as well.
So that essentially gives us some protection 10 years from now if something bubbles up from these data centers that we didn't really know about. It allows us to maybe add that moving forward, right? Or when it goes through the approval process.
You
Won't-
could go retro on the one, but certainly could
Moving
add it
forward.
to any new applications, I would think. Okay. But you're saying that the planning commission could do that, just keep in mind that council can do that as well, because it's a rezoning, any changes they made to the planning commission's recommendation. Sue, that would be a 6 vote? Yeah, super majority, but it's not just planning commission, they could add those, council could
Sure.
add more too
Yeah.
if they wanted to.
We good on data centers? Any other questions? Okay. So gas stations, this has been a hot topic recently. Wanted to provide some more visuals here. We do have 20 gas stations and we have about 22 acres of gas stations. Wanted to compare this to our vacant parcels in the B2 district, which is the district that these are most common in. And what we found was that we have 12 vacant parcels. When we say vacant, we mean that there's no structures, there's no uses. It doesn't mean that there's a building that's empty. It means there's nothing built on it. But that totals 22 acres of available land in the B2. And breaking that number down even further, 7 come from this vacant parcel next to Speedway. 4 come up off of Town Park Drive. So right there is 11 of that 22 acres that's available comes from 2 parcels. So we are really running out of land. That is what we're facing right now. I did hand out a bigger map. I understand that the colors are a little rough. I do apologize for that. But if you have any questions on any of the specifics there, just let me know.
Yeah, I'd like you to work with Sue and maybe clean up the colors a little bit so they're a little more stark. I think that this is something the council hasn't seen. We really need to get it out to them. If you could add those numbers on the right side of the map to your legend on the big map before you do that, and then get it out to council and put it on the website, I think that would be informative.
Yep, will do.
As I understand it, there's currently a moratorium which is expiring, is that correct?
Yeah, so it expires August 28th or 29th, yes.
So with that in mind, I mean, since we're wrapping this up as promptly as we can, we still need some more time. I'd like to, after we do the presentation, I'd like to, make a motion to extend that ordinance, the 0-1926 for an additional 90 days. So that, that would put us out through November 27th, 2026 to allow us to adopt our UDC.
Well, the planning commission can't extend it, but
At least we'll make a recommendation.
City council.
Yes. Because I think we need that time.
So the motion is to recommend to city council to extend for 90 days.
Yes, sir, till November 27th.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Real quick, I guess I have a question. So, extending it 90 days, there's no one, the worry is someone going to come in and establish a gas station in the 90 days between the end and the development of this plan? I mean, that's the worry. Do we think that's going to happen in 90 days?
yes.
You think it happens that quickly? I mean,
Well, there's one waiting to go. There's one that wanted an exception to the current moratorium because they're ready to go. So they say.
okay.
And this
But-
would put it towards the end of November, or earlier. I mean, if the new UDC is adopted and becomes effective before the end of November, the moratorium expires at that point. That's built right into the ordinance.
How does the UDC address this?
So, it's on the next slide. These are the new standards. We did not make any tweaks since we presented this at the last 2 meetings. But it essentially does not permit them as a permitted principal use. It permits them as accessory to a grocery or general merchandise sales principal use.
We have a motion before the commission. Call the roll.
She goes when she gets her papers back. Mr. Emery?
No.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes?
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer?
Yes.
Motion is adopted.
Now, Sue, I
Yes.
know Grant's not here, that's not any kind of binding recommendation, it's just you would pass that on to the council in a...
Yes, I would do a transmittal from the Planning Commission. I guess we'll have the cleaned up map to go with that. At that time, just to say that, the Planning Commission review that and passing this motion on. Okay?
But, Mr. Wolke, I mean, are we gonna talk about what we like and don't like about this? Are we ready to do that, or, I mean, you started, Austin, to go through it, and maybe we were rounded back because we had an outstanding motion, but...
I'll return it to staff to...
Yeah, so, what the new draft shows is that they would not be permitted as a standalone principal use. It requires them to be accessory to a 50,000 square foot grocery or general merchandise sales retailer. So this would put them as accessory to like a Kroger or a Meijer, things like that. There is a limit on pumps, and then there is some design characteristics on the canopies, kiosks, basically requiring them to be architecturally integrated. So a lot of times what you'll see is like brick that wraps around the support columns, things like that. And then no standalone signage. Because they're accessory to that larger grocery retailer, this code will then require the signage to be a part of that. And then obviously no vehicle repair, washing. A lot of the newer ones are starting to pump out new like car washes and things like that. This code would prohibit that. So these are the 8 use-specific standards that you will find. They're actually in the accessories section because this would be an accessory use.
And this is modeled after
The city of Tip City.
they recently adopted it.
They recently adopted it.
So we're saying no more single-use gas stations.
That is what we're saying. Yep.
How does this align with any recommendations from structured planning?
They're in agreement with us that we do have an abundance. And our future land use map, and when we're looking at what we currently have and where we're going to grow, and the concentration of these use categories based on this, what I showed visually, they are in agreement that we definitely need additional standards for gas stations.
So, Mr. Chair, can we go back a second? So instead of the B2, if we're using the current zoning districts, B2 includes what uses?
It includes a lot of your big box retail, all the way down to some office space, things like that. So your Walmarts, your Krogers, those type of uses. A lot of restaurants, eating places. Really, it's your broadest allowance of commercial uses before we hit industrial.
So if Walmart wanted to add a gas station, would they be allowed to?
I don't know the exact square footage, but I'm going to make a guess that they're bigger than 50,000 square feet. So yes, they would be. Yeah. I can go back to the visual if you want to.
So abundance of gas stations, what does that mean? Do
We have
we
more-
have enough gas stations for a city of 150,000 people, or we have enough gas stations for a city of 40,000 people?
We have the highest number. What was the statistic for the county? I don't remember off the top of my head. But we're on par with the city of Huber Heights in terms of the number that we have here.
So
I think
80,000?
well, I don't think there's any chart or anything
Yeah.
that shows you need one gas station for every 5,000 populations, nothing like that. But I think that you did a regional review of the number of gas stations per population, and we are maybe number 3.
Yep.
Huber Heights, I think Tip City for the per capita has more. Huber Heights and we do as well.
The only reason I really asked the question is I'm not making the argument right now, but if we're coming out with this document, it's going to last 20 years. 10 years from now, we're going to come back and say, oh, guess what, we don't have enough gas stations.
Well, then you change the zoning code
Just
if you
changing
want
that.
to. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have that kind of land.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure we have the land for what was number 1, the 50,000 square foot.
Yeah, I would also add in the visual for everything in pink, that doesn't mean that we can just develop it right now. I mean, there's utilities, there's right-of-ways, there's all sorts of other elements. So that, of that 22 acres, 2 of those is 2 parcels, 7 and 4 on the west side. And there's a lot of other work that would need to be done in the other ones to develop for any other use classification. So that number is probably much lower, to be honest.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is not a plug question. I've not asked staff this at all. Do we have any other examples of modification? Because this gas station issue, the fact that it promotes the food desert, it acts in lieu of a food desert. We have lots of gas stations. We're not the only one. This has been a statewide issue with all of the different companies that are gas station companies. And no, I'm not talking about Buc-ee's because I don't know. We'd probably have to double the size of the community just to fit one into in Detroit. But can you go back to the language? 50,000 square feet is a pretty big operation. I just kind of want to narrow down what the objective is. And I get it that we want to tighten the standards so that we don't have any more standalone, strictly gas, just selling racks of chips and candy and, whatever else. Were there any other examples of where maybe it didn't go from maybe the extreme one side that we have where you can just put a basic gas station up like right now and not have any kind of conditions like maybe it has to be at least half dedicated to a sit-down restaurant or something like that versus 50,000 and it has to be an accessory and it has to be a small. It's like we went from one extreme maybe to the other. And I know Tip City was the model and it's in our county, so, we admire a lot of what they do down there. I admit that. But was there any thought, any examples, any, compromise alternatives?
Yes. So when we looked at, back to this visual, when we looked at do we add spacing, there was really no land that was available for the use type anyways. So, for example, if we say you can't place a gas station 500 or 1,000 feet in proximity to another one, when you look at the land that's available and likely to develop, it didn't make any sense.
Well,
So,
I get that, but that's based on today. All right, so if you look west of Kensington, all that land out there, there's been a long discussion about, if we're going to create new commercial districts, that might be a likely area as you go west. Now, it's currently not in town, but we primarily use type 2 expedited annexation process, which is as quick a process as you can do, but there is green space that would be available and could be extended out there. And then once it's annexed in, it would be subject to the UDC language that you're proposing or that Planning Commission would be recommending or Council would approve. So, we're talking about a 10 to 20 year time period with our comprehensive plan. I don't think that we can look at only our current borders. I'm not saying, I've been on the record before, I'll say it again, I'm not a fan of any more standalone gas stations, without any kind of other uses, but, you know, is there some
You
kind
can
of
base it
middle
on
ground?
the road classification category. So for example, like a major collector street with this much traffic, you could locate a gas station there.
In what way? Can you be more specific on that?
Yeah, so like most collector streets or major thoroughfares is the prime example where you have, that is the classification that we established with ODOT because of the size and volume of the street system. You could say, you could put a cap on the number, you could say distance between them, you could say they only want to be located on a minimum of 3 acres, 2 acres, 1 acre. There's all kinds of different provisions that I've seen.
But if you use those as your parameters, are you also addressing that we don't want to, may not want a standalone gas station without some kind of a co-located, not necessarily a primary, you know, because that implies 51-49%, but at least a 50-50, if not a more primary use, you know? I mean, this is the sausage making right here. I mean, this is what it boils down to, and it's been a hot topic at council level related to the moratorium, which is why, if it ends at the end of August, we're in the middle of it, and, you know, we're not to the finish line.
So I have a question. We know that we have 2 gas stations that want to develop. We do not have any permits yet. Would those 2 that we know are interested, if when we get to the end of the UDC approval process, would they, and only those 2, would they be allowed to continue? Or would they be forced to go to this?
No, well, if the new UDC code is not adopted and effective before the moratorium expires, then they would be required to follow the new code. If the moratorium expires at the end of August, there's really no way legally that will be done and effective between Planning Commission and the Council to have an effective new UDC. So then on August 30th, the first day after it expires, then anybody that has plans and wants to file an application would be grandfathered into the current code. Right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. I don't know where our law director is. He was supposed to be here, I thought. I am not playing at being an attorney, but he's not here,
So I guess, would you like me to present some options at our next meeting on the 22nd?
I mean, if the next meeting's the big public input meeting, I think we should definitely prepare options and see what,
Okay.
at least what the feedback
Is the concern primarily subsection 1? Is that the concern? And is it purely on the number, or is it, I'm looking for a little guidance on doing some of
Yeah.
our research for staff.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the size pigeonholes people, right? So yeah, definitely number 1. The only other thing I thought was accessory structures. Yeah, I think 1 is just it.
One's the issue. Okay.
What was magic about number 4, number of fuel pumps?
I mean,
are those 8 double-sided, or
Yeah,
is each
they're
side
double-sided.
count as
So it's
one?
really,
Total of 16.
8 individual pumps, yes.
Yeah.
So that means
All
no
right,
buckies.
well,
no, but it's, yeah,
you lost me.
yeah.
Actually, But for the record, I've never been to a Buc-ee's and looking forward to that.
Field trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I've already got that scheduled.
All right, what is the issue? We will evaluate alternatives and get it back to you. That ends my presentation. If anyone has anything else they would like to chat about.
Tattoo parlors were brought up last week. Did we look into that at all, or was there any discussion around that?
What we wanted to do is leave that to our public input session. We didn't make any edits to the UDC, so we wanted to get more feedback. I did speak to an artist a week or two ago, and I did give him the date of July 22nd, told him the time. He said he's a tattooer and he doesn't like to public speak. I told him I had tattoos and I speak in public all the time, so you should come. And he said okay. So I really wanted to kind of get the public's feedback before we made any edits.
So, in that meeting, are we gonna provide any type of guidance or heads up of, hey, here's the couple of things that we really want some input on, or are we just kind of going in there and allowing basically the public feedback to kind of dictate the direction of the meeting? Or do you have some bullet points that you want to say, hey, these are some things we'd like to talk about, we want to talk about X, Y, Z, and then have people come up and speak to those things? And what's your thought process on how that's going to be conducted?
I can definitely lead a discussion. I'm thinking most people typically when they come have their idea that they want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to like steer or
Okay.
change what they're wanting to talk about. But I can certainly highlight hot topics. I mean, obviously data centers, gas stations, and all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I can think of 3.
Well, I mean,
Gas
yeah.
stations, tattoo parlors, and data centers.
Yeah.
And then 4 would be a catch-all to make sure that anybody who's got anything of their own agenda, they want to bring it up. Maybe, unless somebody's got another one that,
Those seem to be the big ones.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Or consultants call in for that, or will they be here?
They'll be here. They'll be at a minimum virtual. We might have one of the two on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our law director?
maybe, we will re-invite him. He knows about it, though. Grant is aware.
So I take it this will be an open-ended meeting with no guidelines as far as anybody can talk as long as they want? Is that what you anticipate?
That would be up to the chair of the planning commission to
And
establish.
I thought he was establishing a time limit, but we'll verify that as soon as we can get on his same time zone.
The real chairman.
We have to have a time limit.
Yeah.
Be a good idea to
My-
have some kind of...
My only worry is that we started at page 1 and went to 335 in that meeting, right?
Yeah.
So that's my worry, okay.
Right.
All right, as long as we have a plan.
That wasn't the intent, I
Okay.
don't think.
There has to be a time limit.
So we are going to set a time limit or some manner before that meeting. for
Well, I
people
understand
speaking.
Jim is doing it, am I correct?
Jim at one point had made the comment like 3 minutes, but I don't want to speak for him. You know, he can establish that at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
I know he's not, you know, he doesn't have a stopwatch and, you know.
That's fine,
if
as long as I know we're going
relevant,
to establish
yeah.
something, that, I think that's fair.
Otherwise, we have to order dinner in.
Do we have anything else?
That is all we have.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn, and that's not debatable. Pardon?
I second it.
He was telling me that he seconded it.
Oh, okay.
I'm always looking at him, he's always telling me who did.
Got it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I apologize, I had called the city yesterday to see if there would be a public comment
Well,
period.
we can discuss it informally, but we typically don't have public comment, which
Okay.
is why the 22nd, we
Yeah.
wanted to dedicate that for it. In the meantime, though, Rebecca, if you've got anything, any suggestions based on what we discussed or anything else, email it to us, and then we'll get it out to everybody so that everybody's prepared.
Okay.
But as we just discussed, Austin's going to have a
Alternative.
structured, time during that meeting to talk about gas
Okay.
stations, so that we know that's a big one.
Perfect. I just really, for those who, because I know many of you have seen me many times, for those who haven't, I just wanted to introduce myself and say who my client was. So that's all right. I can do it on the 22nd.
This is Rebecca from the WACO proposed
Yeah.
Indeed. Good, right.
Okay. Thank you.